I've seen several Horry County PD officers as well as investigators going into these woods. The new cameras would be able to see children sitting here in the front as well as here in the middle. Montgomery Gentry is on stage right now, and this crowd has just continued to build. But they also have another one, and it's located right here on CCU's campus. And that DNR truck could barely get through, so this water is still very high. People tell me that they've been preparing for weeks for this spring bike rally. The new plan would put townhomes on this side of Burkale Road, but neighbors like the ones right next door say that plan is still unacceptable. A lot of the roads leading up to Folly Road are clear, but when you turn the corner here, this is what you see. Since July, 60 people have left the detention center. 10 of them went to other agencies around the state. Trauma care doesn't just start or stop here at the hospital. Doctors and nurses do work with local first responders. He's a soccer player and a toy lover. To the average eye, Griffin Steel is a typical 7-year-old boy. But on Saturday, Griffin added amateur detective to his resume when he discovered all of this cash.
I didn't really know at all what I thought.
Griffin and his father Shane stopped at a gas station to put some air in their tires.
And I got thirsty, so we went to the store, but before we went in, I found this $20 bill, and it had this red dye on it, and this red stuff on it.
Griff picked it up and handed it to me, but the side of it was red, and it looked, I don't know, it was just odd.
But it wasn't just one $20 bill.
I had some wrapping from my Gatorade bottle, so I went to the trash can, and I threw it in, and there was tons of money with red dye on it.
And he goes, "Dad, this whole trash can's full of money."
So Steele called the police and found out they were looking for 35-year-old Brian Humphreys Jr. Humphreys has been named the suspect in 2 bank robberies in the last week.
There's a lot of it that didn't have any of the things on it, but I wanted to do the right thing.
Not a surprise for a kid who was given an integrity award from his teachers earlier this year.
The moral lesson for him that, you know, you do what's right, and that'll be the best path.
And while Griffin has enjoyed the spotlight,
I told a lot of my friends, I told teachers too.
He can now go back to being that typical 7-year-old.
Hey!
When your children get on the bus, you expect them to be safe. But Horry County Schools Director of Transportation Jim Wright said things do happen.
You can't really see on the old cameras because, as you can see in a school bus, we have high back seats. So you can do a lot of things in a bus we can't get to.
That's why the Horry County School District paid more than $400,000 to buy high-definition cameras. The new cameras would be able to see children sitting here in the front, as well as here in the middle, and even in the very back.
With our new system, we can kind of zoom into each area to find out really what's going on so we can make sure that we're protecting our children that are riding our school bus.
The new cameras also track speed.
So when we get the calls that this bus was speeding in this neighborhood, we can actually pull it up and see. It gives us a little GPS map to see exactly where the bus is, when the bus was there.
Vicki Fuller was the first bus driver to get the new system.
It also benefits the drivers as well as the students in case the drivers need something to help them out, like vehicles passing our stop arms. It helps us a whole lot.
Wright said it also helps with efficiency.
Right now it takes a very long time for us to watch the videos when something happens.
Now the driver has an alert button which marks down the time.
So when we're ready to see the video, we can go straight to that, find out what's going on.
But Wright's favorite part?
The reduction of engine noise.
It's all you could hear on the old system. But now, much quieter.
Each one has their own microphone, so you can really kind of hear what the conversation is about and see if it's appropriate or not.
Reporting in Conway, Abbey O'Brien, News 13. These volunteers aren't from Horry County.
Coming all the way from Arkansas.
Or the state of South Carolina.
I used to serve in the British Army.
But they ended up here for a simple reason.
To help people.
They're a part of Team Rubicon, an organization full of thousands of veterans helping disaster-stricken areas.
I like the way that it's veteran-focused, but there's first responders. Yeah, there's some crazy civilians jumping as well, and it's very action.
This group helped John Graham after Hurricane Matthew did this to his backyard.
The ground started lifting up, and so I said, "Oh God!" And I look at the window, the tree was gone.
The organization doesn't just help people after disasters. It also helps the volunteers.
They gave me a sense of purpose, another reason to live.
This is Jacob Niles' 12th disaster operation.
I didn't have a reason to be here until I found Team Rubicon, and this is my family. I don't know half these people, I just met them, but I know they're there for me, and I'm going to be there for them.
And while the storm isn't over for Graham,
I definitely gonna need some more help when they leave.
these volunteers aim to leave their site better than they found it.
What you do for yourself goes with you when you leave, but what you do for others stays around. That's your legacy.
In a jail, it's all about keeping people in, which means it's all about locks, cameras,
We'll be upgrading older cameras.
and security systems.
We'll be replacing all the locking mechanisms with the newest locks.
Lieutenant Sean Downey with North Myrtle Beach Police says some equipment in the jail is nearly 30 years old.
We had to kind of drop back, figure out how can we control this jail.
In July, we told you about Atticus Barber, who escaped from the jail by following a construction worker out.
That happened when we were actually putting the software in place for these doors.
Which prompted the department to speed up the timeline for this new upgrade.
We feel like we're very confident in the plan we put in place that will prevent that in the future.
The goal is to make sure no two doors can be open at the same time.
So it's a much quicker, more secure way of locking high security doors.
They will also upgrade the camera system and add new ones in the jail's blind spots.
Down these hallways, there's some spots we'll be putting some new cameras in that get a little better coverage.
Some doors, like this one, need to be replaced.
That have since rusted, because these are all original. This is original to the building.
And there will be upgrades to the control panel.
The newer system obviously will be supported with the latest technology.
Lieutenant Downey said since Barber escaped during the last upgrades, this time things will be different.
We'll most likely have to shut the jail down for a period of time, maybe a week. We don't really know while the company comes in and changes out the locks.
Some trucks were able to get through,
You never anticipate something like this.
but most people on Folly Road are using boats to get around.
Some of the people have been here for 10 or 20 years and have never seen water like this.
David Quanti has lived on Folly Road for 9 years.
So you don't know how high it's going to go, and you don't know where to put things and what to try to save, and it's just crazy.
He said this is worse than the flooding last October.
Most of the people have gotten water into their homes that have never had water inside before.
And the worst part is,
It's still rising.
Randall Blaylock and his wife Janet live on the end of Folly Road.
That's where I live, in that White House right there.
The house is full of several feet of water.
That is pretty close to one of the deepest points. What you see is all the way up to the mailboxes.
He said last year the water barely got into his garage.
Everything front and back was flooded, but it never got inside. But this time it's a lot higher.
Several people who live here have evacuated, but others are trying to save what they can while they can.
Trying to get up everything as far up out of the water as you can, and then the water rises up and gets things anyway.
The waterway is supposed to peak within the next day,
Several of those houses are flooded.
but it will be a long time before the water levels get back to normal.
It's just, it's sort of overwhelming, I guess is probably the word to use.
A shelter is open for Socastee area residents at the Church of Christ Grand Strand. We have more information on that on WBTW.com. Reporting live in Socastee, Abbey O'Brien, News 13.